this is just a very brief introduction. Hopefully everyone's seen the call for proposals already. And so this is kind of just a summary, but mainly this is about questions that you might have. So do write any questions you have in the chat, or we can sort of pick them up on audio afterwards. So this call is titled Materials for Digital Devices, and so it's led by Anne and myself. Um, Okay, we've introduced the team. I guess just a couple of people who aren't on the call today is Mike Fraser at Bristol and Steve, who's at Lancaster. So they sort of co-lead the pro² network, and we have other people involved as well. So Badiana and Joe too. But today it's mostly Anne and I who will be talking to you. pro² is a network where we're looking at how we can transform prototypes into products. And we have three key themes. So the first one is prototyping with emerging materials, which we're talking about today. But we also have themes around refining and scaling prototypes and infrastructure that's sort of required around prototyping. And all of that is kind of wrapped up in sustainability as well. So if you want to know more about any of the other themes, then you can jump onto the website to find out about them. So this funding call is about materials for digital devices. They're probably the things you're most interested in is how much money can you get. So the maximum awards from pro² is £80,000. I think that's 100,000 full economic costing. And the closing date for proposals is the 4th of December, so a little while off yet. What's this call about? So what we're interested here is innovative research projects that can explore the use of emerging materials or novel applications of existing materials into digital devices. So how can we put new types of materials into digital devices, and how can we incorporate them? So what we think is that new and emerging materials will drive innovation in digital devices. But there's currently a big gulf between those who know how to design materials, so those who kind of sit maybe in chemistry labs or material science labs, and those who can deploy those materials into novel interactive devices. So that might be people who are working in the UbiComp space and the HCI space and the medical devices space. So there's kind of this big gulf between these two sets of expertise. And generally what we see is that outside sort of large multinationals, then there's a big challenge kind of bridging these two places together, or putting these two places together. And so the goal of this call is to try and help people kind of put these two sets of expertise together, so we can take some of these fantastic emerging materials and put them into great use for digital devices. So here's a few terms that you'll see both in the call and probably in what we'll be talking about today. So it's good to we're all on the same page about what we mean. So we think of it as a digital device as some physical piece of equipment that contains some kind of computer or microcontroller. And you know, there's all sorts of these things out there today, right? So everything from the smartphone to computers to robotics to anything like that, anything that has some kind of microcontroller computer in it. We talk a lot about prototypes. So a prototype is the first example of something, right? So often this is something that many of us sit in a lab and build. You know, we can't kind of hack some little wires together, or we put some materials together to build an example of something. And the final thing that we'll talk a lot about is emerging materials. And so these are materials that we class as things that are not currently in common use, or kind of can be repurposed from other places into a digital device. And I've actually got a whole slide on emerging materials, so we can talk more about that. But we're interested in things that aren't currently married with digital devices, so that maybe can open up whole new avenues for exploration or exciting new applications. Okay, so what is an emerging material? So an emerging material could be all sorts of things, right? So maybe it's something that comes from an unexpected source or an industry, or it could be something that we need to adapt for interactive technology. And here's some examples. So things like we don't see in common use with digital technology or digital devices, maybe things like carbon fiber or microcapsules or active polymers or conductive inks. These kind of things are sort of they exist and they're kind of very well established, but we might not see them regularly applied in interactive or digital devices. And then maybe you can use these things to create new sensors or displays or actuators or make devices into new form factors, or you can add new functionality or bring new interactivity. And so we're very open as to what you might do with these kind of emerging materials. So you know, maybe there are things that go into wearable devices, or maybe they're used to capture gestures or to change the shape of the device, or to provide haptic feedback, or to provide any kind of metrics or measurements, anything that you know could be in the realm of a digital device. And I guess also we're all open to hearing from proposals that explore sustainable versions of new materials for digital devices. So something that's part of this call, and in fact part of the pro² network in general, is this kind of always thinking about sustainability, or where these things might go in the future, right? Or if there's more ecologically friendly versions of materials which are currently be using, right? So can we use things that are more biodegradable or recyclable or more energy efficient? And we're also, you know, we encourage or happy to hear about projects that explore multiple materials, you know, so if there are hybrid solutions or things that we can put together that kind of give us a whole new opportunity to explore the design of interactive devices. I guess one key thing that I wanted to note was that we don't expect you in these proposals to develop a new material. You can if you want, but really there's probably not scope within the funding available to develop something new and to integrate it into a digital device. But that's certainly not expected, right? Given that the small scope of the funding that's on offer. I will sort of just pause there for a minute because there was a lot on that slide. So if anyone has any burning questions, about, especially about emerging materials, we could answer those now. Otherwise, there'll be plenty of time at the end. Okay, I think I'll move on, but we can certainly come back to that if it's not clear. So what are the requirements of the proposals? So you must have a multidisciplinary team. So there at minimum must be one PI and one co-I or a partner that bring together expertise from different fields. So it might be bringing you know, something from materials engineering or chemistry and putting that with human-computer interaction or creative design or art or something like that. So we're looking for quite diverse teams. So collaboration is required. And we expect that one member of the team, or at least one member of the team, should have some expertise in the materials application domain. So it shouldn't be that, or it should be that it's likely that it's probably someone with the material expertise and someone with the application expertise. And we sort of encourage you to form teams that will encourage collaboration that kind of lets you meet those project goals in the most kind of the strongest possible way, right? So if you're trying to apply a material into domain, we'd expect to see a domain expert there that can help you out with that. The proposal will also get you to think about any health and safety regulations and any ethical implications of the materials or the application domain, so throughout the project life cycle. And we'll also want you to think a little bit about any kind of environmental or societal impacts of the project too, or of your application as well. Okay. So we must, the proposals must also show, so as well as showing sort of an innovative use of emerging material, we want to encourage people to enable a broader community to access these materials. So the whole idea of the pro² network is to try and make it easier for people to engage with prototyping and scaling up prototypes into production. And that only happens if we can help people to engage more widely with new materials and new approaches. So these projects shouldn't be something that only allow you to generate proprietary outcomes that you're not going to share. That's not what we're here to fund. We're here to fund things that can help a broader community as well. Okay, I'll just do that. And so we specified in the call 4 key challenges, and these were there to try and help you to think about what we're really interested in and what we'd really like to see in the proposals. And we would expect every proposal to at least address one of them. Maybe you cover more, but you don't have to cover more. And so I think I'll quickly run through those now, just so that you can refresh your minds as to what they are. So the first challenge we thought about was processes for integrating emerging materials into digital devices. And so we know that there's a lot of challenges with, if you have a brand new material, or you're trying to bring a new material into the digital device domain. Actually, we don't really know. Often we don't know how to do that because of the requirements of the material, and trying to marry that with traditional digital devices. And so challenge 1 is about how we can build processes that allow us to do that more smoothly. So how can we kind of seamlessly integrate materials, and what will those processes look like? Is it tools? Is it kind of know-how? These sorts of things. Is it access to materials or to knowledge? Challenge 2 is designing tools that support application development with emerging materials. So this might be so for example, this might be how can we integrate an emerging material into, for example, computer-aided design. So how can we support these emerging materials being integrated into a design process? And I guess this is particularly important if you remember that the people who will be designing with these materials might not necessarily know all of the restrictions or the requirements or the necessary background or technical background to make those materials what they need to be. So how can we ease that process for non-experts to design with emerging materials? Challenge 3 is process for scaling up production of devices with emerging materials. So this is thinking about are there tools? So it might be are there tools that we can help, or that we can build to help people be able to prototype or to scale up production with an emerging material. So this is focused on people who might be doing things with fabrication equipment. So are there particular types of printers or cutters or molders that was let people engage with your material far more easily because there was now a tool or a process that would support them. And the final one, challenge 4, is to produce tools or toolkits, techniques or supporting media that allow non-experts to engage with your emerging material. So this is kind of, I guess the analogy is things like an Arduino, which is very commonly available. You can kind of just buy that off the shelf, or you can even make it yourself if you really want. And there's a whole ecosystem around that. So, tutorials, sort of other kits which plug into it, workshops and whatnot, which allow people to engage with the Arduino sort of microcontroller. So what would be the equivalent for an emerging material? So what would be the equivalent for your emerging material, which would allow everybody to use it very easily, and then deploy that into their prototypes? So I'm sure there's lots of questions about those challenges, because that was just a super quick overview. We can come to those in a moment. Oh, okay, and that was the last thing I wanted to say. So that was a lightning fast introduction. I think most of that was in the call already. So you probably hopefully that was just a reminder.